For foreign artists, it's all about strength.
Get your courage, have some discipline, be motivated, and just do it.
So don't need to be rich, don't need to have like a lot of money.
How did you define your own opportunities?
You can apply for entrepreneur visa, which is very helpful. I would like to begin by thanking you all for attending our online webinar and round of table discussion. And I'm David Costa. For those who don't know me yet, I'm the co-founder of VivirCN, and I am also an entrepreneur myself. So this is for me a pleasure to do it, because to be the moderator for you today, because precisely something that benefits me as much as you. We are basically, before I talk about the forum, actually, I would like to say that if you have any questions, please go ahead and leave them in the forum chat, in this Tencent meeting chat. And at the end of the forum, we will have a Q&A session where you can ask the guests, and they will be very happy to answer your questions. So now this forum, I would like to talk a little bit about the forum. This forum is put together by Meet Expat Entrepreneurs at Shanghai. This is the brand name, which is a project organized by the Institute of Culture and Creative Industry at Jiaotong University of Shanghai. So in collaboration with other brands, very well-known brands, some of them very well-known, like Shanghai Invest, a bureau from the government, VivirCN, Any Helper, and the Taylor's Tribe. So the aim of this project is to showcase foreign entrepreneurs who own business here in Shanghai, and to share the experience, their path to success, but also their challenges, their failures, so we can all benefit from this learning experience and about the entrepreneurial practices, right? Through the entrepreneurial practices. So I think I'm hearing some people. Maybe I'm going to just turn off all the microphones, if you don't mind. And if you need to talk, please unmute yourself, yeah, for our guests. You need to this can unmute. Okay, perfect. Good, because I heard some noise. So finally, we have also started this online forum. And the purpose of Meet Expat Entrepreneurs online webinar is to actually share live with guests, live guests, these entrepreneurial practices, what works, what doesn't, and in such a challenging market here in Shanghai. So especially during the pandemic situation. So for this, today we have three remarkable guests. I'm going to start introducing the guests. The first one I'd like to introduce is Mr. Eduardo Vargas, who is the operating partner at Azul Restaurant Group, which involves Colca, Azul, Shouk, Azul Italiano restaurants. And thank you, Eduardo, so much for attending this webinar today. And also, Mrs. Erin Leigh, is that how you pronounce it, Erin? Erin Leigh, yeah? Good. So she's the co-founder and CEO of Spare Leash, right? Spare Leash. This is a pet tech company. And thank you so much for coming today to share your experience with us. And lastly, we have Mr. Chase Williams, operating partner at the Rooster. Many of you know this, and Perch. Hi there, Chase, and thank you so much as well for coming here to our webinar. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get started with the guest speaker self-introduction. We're going to start with Eduardo. So Eduardo, would you like me to put up the PPT? I cannot hear you. You have to unmute yourself. Sorry. There you go.
Okay, now it's okay?
Yes, I will put up your PPT. 1 second. Let me just share the screen. If you all can see my screen, can you all see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Excellent. Excellent. So you just let me know when you would like me to go to the next slide. And please go ahead to introduce yourself and your company.
Well, I am a restaurateur chef that been in Shanghai since 2002, basically. I studied cooking in Canada. I'm from Peru, and I've been open over 22 concepts in China since 2002, actually. You know, at the present moment, we have 7 restaurants in the group. We have Kolka in Henshan Road. We have Azul in Shanghai. Azul has been open since 2003. This is the third location. We moved 3 times. Every 10 years or every 8 years, the lease expired and we move. And then we have an Italian restaurant called Azul Italiano. We have 2 locations, one in 1003 Mall and one in Payulang Mall next to the W Hotel. We have a family style restaurant called Souk, also in 1003. We have another Kolka in near the W Hotel. And we are building a grill, a modern contemporary steakhouse, a grill restaurant near Henshan Road. It's supposed to be open this month, but with all this shit, we're gonna to open maybe 3 months later or 4 months later, mostly, probably, yeah. And I've been here, you know, I've been here for so long that I see everything happens in Shanghai from that time that from the time that before there was the boom of Shanghai. I've been here, so I
Wow.
see the first pandemic, the SARS. I was here during the SARS. I've been here, all this time. We did the Expo 2010. I have a restaurant inside the Expo. That was a very boom Shanghai at the time. So it's been okay. Certain days, certain things when you do business sometimes work, sometimes doesn't work. So sometimes we make money, sometimes we don't, but we keep going. Like now, you know. In my PowerPoint, you go to the next page, please. Yes, this is just a little introduction about my restaurants. This is Azul. That, as I said before, it has been open since 2003. We got many awards. It's a very popular restaurant now. It's in Shanghai. Hopefully tomorrow we already open for deliveries, but I think tomorrow people will be able to go there and pick up food. Unfortunately, they were not allowed to eat in the restaurant yet. I think
Wow.
the government is gonna to be they they were gonna to be cautious. They're gonna to start things slowly. I think. They don't want it a bunch of foreigners drinking in front of a restaurant. They're gonna to take a photo, go into social media, they close down. So they're gonna to be careful. And it's not true. I mean, I understand that they don't want cases, and they have to be super careful about it. You know. The next one is my another restaurant, Kolka. The next page, please. Um, can you go to the next page, David?
Yeah. Are you already on the
Okay, yeah,
next
sorry.
page? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is our Peruvian restaurant. I'm from Peru, so in 2010, I opened a Peruvian restaurant in the Expo, Shanghai Expo. It was super popular. After that, I always wanted to have a Peruvian restaurant, so we managed to open this place that is modern Peruvian. We have now 2 locations. This is the Hengshanglu location sitting in the photo. We have another location in next to W Hotel in Bailuan, and it's really popular. The 2 locations are very nice. You know, as we close. We only doing delivery now. Also, the same thing. Most probably tomorrow. Tomorrow they told me they will allow people going inside the compound where Kolka is in Hengshanglu. So most probably, you guys can go there order food from the restaurant, and then sit down in the courtyard, most probably, and drinking there, but they don't allow you to go inside the restaurant to have a proper dining. So it will be more like a
Mm.
very casual. People will go to places like that. Will sit down on the park. Will sit down on the courtyards and eating there very casually. Basically, that's going to happen for the first 10 days or 2 weeks in here, little by little. Yeah. This is our new concept, the Italian restaurant. We have two. The idea of this concept is open Italian food for local people in shopping centers. Basically, our clients, 99% are locals. And we just trying to open in shopping centers where they have most of the F&B in these shopping centers are Asian food, local Chinese food. So we are only one or two Western concepts in the shopping center. So it works very well with families. It works very well with kids, lots of kids. And it's doing very popular. I mean, local people when they do Western food, pizza, pasta, always works. So that's the idea of this concept. And we had two locations, one in North Band and one in 1003 Mall. It's a new mall on Mogan Shang Street on the art area. It's very nice. Yeah, that's the
Right.
photo of the mall. Yeah, and this is the type of food that we're serving. So
Wow.
I don't say it's authentic Italian, but it's an Italian food that we we work it for the local taste, for the local market. In terms of presentation, in terms of taste, in terms of it's perfect for families. So that is what we're having in there. Yeah.
I think it's a authentic Azul Italian.
Yes, it's our own concept, but it's for
Exactly.
it was made for China. So for the type of client you have in China. So yeah. Yeah, and I also do a lot of consulting experience. This is all my consulting jobs. I opened over 25 restaurants, I think, in the last
Wow.
20 years. Yeah. So
Everywhere as well.
yes, and so this is what we do, and that is why I learn many things. I learned that when you are in this type of business, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Like at the present moment, most probably, most of my entrepreneurs friends in restaurant business, we all losing money, we all putting more money into the business. But it doesn't mean that is over everything. It's, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you need to learn how to survive, how to keep going. And I believe Shanghai is gonna to recuperate very, very quickly.
I
Most
think so
probably
too.
most probably this year we're not gonna to make money, but at least we're gonna to break even, and that is good enough for us, to keep going. And next year, most probably, will work. There is another on my consulting. It is a consulting in Beijing in a hotel called View Hotel. I did a model Spanish restaurant called Big Rabbit. Yeah, and the next one is an Italian restaurant called Porcellino. I think it's still open. Yeah, in Yuyan Road. I also
Oh
designed
yeah.
I designed the place. I made a whole concept in there for them. That is what my awards, my things that I did in all the 26 restaurants that we opened so far. Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
I'm missing one. The last one that we just opened, Souk, in 1003 is not there yet. Yeah.
Amazing.
So,
Okay.
so that is what we be doing all this time. During the last 20 years as an entrepreneur, I have many situations. Sometimes the landlord fuck you up. Sometimes, it doesn't go the way how you want it. The biggest problem that we all have is most probably cash flow. And when you have several venues, and then like this situation, like now, for example, the restaurants are okay. Most probably we can get some free rent, but the cash flow is the bigger problem because you still have to pay the rent, you still have to pay the suppliers from before, you have to still pay your staff. So it's something that sometimes we need to manage. Yeah.
Incredible. I personally, I read your story in Smart Shanghai before, and I thought it was unbelievable. The resilience that you show during this 20 years here in Shanghai is unbelievable. Thank you for that introduction. And I'm going to head to allow Erin to self-introduce your company, please. Can you share the screen?
I do not have a special PPT, so you'll just have to deal with this face.
No problem.
Okay, perfect. So nice to meet all you guys. I'm Erin. I've been here 10 years. I'm from the States. To quickly introduce you about myself and what we do at Spare Leash. I moved here and I instantly got involved with the rescue community, the animal rescue community. And I quickly noticed while doing all of these events in my free time that people wanted to adopt, but they weren't able to because they worked full time. They felt bad adopting a dog and not being able to walk it. They wanted to travel and they had an array of excuses. So that's when we needed to find a solution so we could also help more pets in need. So that's when we created Spare Leash so we could give pet owners a safe pet care solution. Also on the other end of it, we found, I tested it out going back to the States a couple times. I found that there were a bunch of people that were willing to take care of pets. A lot of them in the beginning wanted to do it for free. And so we're kind of going to go that route. But then, especially like a pet owner like me, who's really demanding and who wants photo updates. I want photos when they're on their walks. I want to see, if they peed, pooped, their food. So we kind of ask all these demands. And then we started putting a price to it. And then we kind of created this dream job as a pet sitter. So in a couple of months, back in 2016, we not only created safe pet care solutions for pet owners, but we also created kind of this dream job for pet sitters and people that wanted to be pets. It first started out with a lot of students. We really catered Donghua and Jiaotong University. And then later, now our number one pet sitter is either a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, and it just gives them something to do during the day while their kids are at school, which is really cool to see. So after that, it kind of branched out, and then we started adding services. So the main thing we do is that we connect pet owners to verified pet sitters, but all of our services are in-home, 100% cage-free. So it's kind of like Airbnb for pets. So we do everything from house sitting, which means that a pet sitter would go to your home. So you would just have to pack a bag and leave. The pet, cat, dog, bird, fish, rabbit, snake gets to stay in the comfort of its own home, and the sitter comes to you. But then we also do boarding, which means the animal would go to the sitter's home. We do group boarding, single boarding, group boarding. Obviously, another dog or cat would be in the house, so they have a boarding buddy. Single boarding, if your dog or cat doesn't really get along with anybody else, we also have that option. And then aside from that, we do the cat check-ins, vet runs, and dog training. And we're currently in 5 cities around China. So we started in Shanghai, and then we quickly grew to Shanghai, Beijing, Suzhou, Shenzhen, and now Chengdu. We also work with pet partners, which is super important. As we were just hearing, being an entrepreneur here, you definitely need to learn how to adapt and pivot. So aside from offering just safe pet care solutions, we also work with amazing pet partners that help us with pet insurance. We have amazing pet taxis that can help pet owners easily get around town. We also just created a full online store. So we are working with our partners who have amazing products such as leashes, food, medicine, bowls, clothes, anything and all things pets. And the cool thing is a lot of us here, if you've been here for a long time, especially as a pet owner, you can go on Taobao, but you always have the fear that you're going to get a fake or knockoff product, whether it be a leash that's going to break on you or fake food. Spare Leash goes straight to the source. Everything that we offer on our platforms, whether it's people or products, is verified. So we go straight to the source. We work straight directly with the manufacturer, make sure everything's checked off with licensing, and then we put it in the store, saving pet owners time to kind of have to do the background checks. We do that for you, so you know everything's going to be safe and everything's legit. So that's kind of what we do online. offline, we're still really focused on the pet community by bringing pets and pet owners together. We offer monthly events, everything from Doga, adoption events. A lot of them have been at Rooster and Perch. We do walks, runs. I mean, you name it. We're very active in the pet owner community, as we think it's important that you're not only going to adopt a dog, but we should also give you activities so you can learn how to engage with your dog. We also do cat yoga, so anything like that, just to create a long-lasting relationship, because pets are part of the family and they are forever. So that's also how we kind of full circle go back to how we started, and with helping people adopt, and then we help promote adoption. So that is what Fairleash does.
Wow, impressive. I mean, I haven't had a pet in long time, so I have seen that recently the pet market is growing super fast. Chinese people, they welcome pets like never seen before. It's like incredible. The market is growing super fast and lots of opportunities. So I found that super interesting how you just grasp the opportunity to share your passion and to develop this passion to this extent. It's incredible. It's incredible. Congratulations.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Congratulations. So, Chase, I think it's your turn now.
All right.
We can.
Thank you,
Yeah, we
David.
can hear you now.
Okay, great. So I also do not have a PowerPoint, but I will give you a full introduction of myself and my businesses. So first of all, great to be here with all of you guys, and I love Eduardo's food, and I've been a happy user of Fairleash as well. So good to see you guys here, and hope everyone's doing okay. Some crazy times, but yeah, my name's Chase, and I'm from the US as well. I'm from Florida. I've been in Shanghai for a little bit over 10 years, and I've been in a few different industries. But currently, I'm the operating partner of the Rooster and Perch. So they're both two small bars and restaurants in Jing'an District. The Rooster has been around the longest. It originally opened in 2012 on Yongkang Road. So Yongkang Road was this little tiny quiet street in Xuhui, and over the course of a year or two, it turned into just a crazy party street. So that's where the Rooster began, just a tiny little hole-in-the-wall bar. And the original founder, John Cox, he never had any ideas that it would just that the street in general would blow up or it would become what it is now. But hard work and some luck, and everything sort of worked out. The current Rooster opened up in 2015 on Shanxibeilu in Jing'an. So for 1 year, there were two Roosters which overlapped. The Yongkang Rooster closed in 2016, with most of the establishments on Yongkang Road, as a little bit of a housekeeping was done of the street.
That was so painful. So painful.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't for everybody.
Yeah.
I certainly have to feel for the people who did live there and were
Yeah.
inconvenienced by the partying and the noise and the traffic and the mess that was left because of it. But of course, it's difficult to close a business. Fortunately, we did have the Jing'an location opened in 2015. So we had 1 year to pretty much prepare. And since 2015, and well, especially since 2016, with the first one closing, the Rooster Jing'an has been my baby. It's been people would describe the Rooster as probably an North American style bar. Definitely more of a bar than a restaurant. We focus on craft beer, draft beer, good times, lots of events, lots of promotions. For food, we'd be better known for our chicken wings and burgers, buffalo wings, traditional American style bar food. We show lots of sports on TVs, and we've created what I think is a very neighborhood bar feel. an establishment where you know the staff, you interact with them, you know their names, they know your names, they know your orders. We're quite small, but we try to maximize it. We like to throw lots of parties, and we have lots of promotions and lots of events, lots of community events, charity events, whether it's clothing drives for the renewal center, or pet adoption events, or raising funds for a charity like Heart to Heart by having a scooter wash outside on the sidewalk, or having a chicken wing eating contest. We like to just come up with ideas that we think our customers would enjoy and help somebody out. Not always us, but helps out, another greater cause. So the Rooster, people do definitely associate us with being an American or North American bar, but besides myself being American, other partners involved are Canadian, Taiwanese, local Chinese, and we're definitely open to everything. We want to communicate with our customers and see what it is that they want. A vast majority of our customers are expats, which has definitely made the last couple of years a bit challenging with the COVID-19 situation and the amount of foreigners coming to Shanghai being pretty much non-existent and just people constantly leaving. But you always need to adapt. You always need to do something to survive and find a problem, find an issue, and try to make it an advantage. Our other bar that we have is called Perch. So Perch opened in 2019, and it opened very near to Rooster. So it's right on Jiangning Road and Wuding Road. When we found Perch, we were actually looking for another location for Rooster. It was too close, we felt, to be another Rooster, but we loved the location because we loved the outdoor terrace. So we thought, okay, let's make something. Let's create something that's different. Let's create something that we feel is missing from this area of Jinan and that utilizes this massive outdoor deck. So Perch, I'd say, is more focused on wine and cocktails than it is beer, for sure. The food started off originally as tapas style, just smaller items meant more for snacking, not so much a place that you would seek out for dinner. We do a lot of events and a lot of parties, so a lot of the food is designed for that. The indoor is quite small, but the outdoor is beautiful, and beautiful days, beautiful spring days like today, where it's nice and sunny and not too hot, and you can sit out on a deck with a glass or two of wine. That's why we created Perch, and it's been unfortunate to be missing out on business over these last 2 months, but there's nothing that we can do about that, and we just hope that with good news coming this week, that we can resume business as soon as possible.
I believe that's pretty much what's going to happen. I hope that's pretty much what's going to happen. So thank you. Your situation, I totally understand. I have quite a few friends in this situation, entrepreneurs as well, who just opened business actually a few months ago, and the open paddle business and stuff like that, and they find themselves in the same situation. So I totally understand the feeling, and I believe that this kind of situation it will be over very soon. I hope, because anyway, the government, I suppose that it doesn't benefit from keeping this up, right? So we hope that it's going to change and it's going to get better. So thank you so much for that introduction. That was pretty good. And coming to the next part for the panel, before we come to the panel discussion, I would like to invite our partner, Any Helper. Why? Because they are pretty much very well known here in the community. Most of the entrepreneurs, they know them because they used their services before, but also because they are totally passionate to help people, especially entrepreneurs who have problems with visas, etc. Who they want to open the businesses. You know, some of the entrepreneurs who appear in past forums here, in past webinars, they open the business with them. And today we have the pleasure that they're going to offer some insights about the market and some insights about the new policies coming. So Lucy, could you do us a favor and introduce a little bit any helper and also give us some insights about the new policies?
Sure. Am I here? Is it okay for me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you guys, and I'm very glad to be here today. And I just saw someone in the chat that asking about what's the outlook on the business travel and the tourism to Shanghai. So it's really very good question, and okay, I hope it works for us to show in the PowerPoint.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes. Good, very good. Okay, so actually, today I'm be here to want to share something with you about measures related to revival business in Shanghai, about more expat entrepreneurs in Shanghai. So I'm Lucy from Any Helper, and I'm the head of innovation department of Any Helper. So I just keep in touch with the information office of Shanghai and also the tourism and the culture bureau of Shanghai. And I also lead the volunteer program in Any Helper. So I got a lot of questions and a lot of information from the entrepreneur side and also the government side. So today I want to share something with you. And oh, I hope it will be okay for my internet. So
yeah.
For this.
Oh, we kind of lost you there.
But also we have some volunteer projects to answer questions via WeChat. And for this program, we just cooperating, inviting entrepreneurs for the interview project. So I'm very glad to see Chess here. I have Chess WeChat, I have Erin's WeChat, and I also very glad to hear that Shanghai will be reopened soon because we can see our old friends now. And during this process, contacting entrepreneurs, we have collected some frequent asked questions, especially about when tomorrow will be the first day of Shanghai to release the whole city. And here we have some information. The first one is about if my business is hit by the COVID-19, what kind of support I can get from the government. The first one is especially for some industries severely hit by the COVID-19, such as catering, retail, tourism, and even about the airlines, even about the foreign trading industries. And for the small companies, you can apply for deferral of social insurance fee. And for the next one is before the government gave information about if you rented a state-owned place for your company, you can ask for the rent. You can ask for the rent delay. So next one, according to the government's information, except to apply for a reducement of your housing rent, you can also apply for a reducing for like the electricity fee and water fee and gas fee for 3 months. But the percent will be the 10% of water and electricity and gas fees for the 3 months. And the next one is about the human beings. So if you are a company, you must employ someone and you have a lot of employees. The entrepreneurs always bear a lot on your shoulder that you need to pay the money, you need to pay the money for your employees. So actually for canteen, retail, and other industries seriously affected by the pandemic or the COVID-19, a subsidy of 600 yuan per employee will be provided. So if you don't cut any employee during the pandemic, you can apply for a 600 yuan per employee. Okay, and next one, especially for the expat entrepreneurs, a lot of people, they are just doing the foreign trading between the China and the foreign countries. So further efforts will be made to support VAT export refund and also about the export credit insurance, that the government will encourage port and shipping industries to reduce storage and demurrage and help entrepreneurs and help companies to engage in foreign trade to fulfill orders. So if you have some goods stuck in the port, and the government will make efforts to do it, help you to recover the shipping industry. And the last one is about from the June 1st, because we already know that it's the first day for us to back to work, back to normal, but we will see how it goes. And also the government know that we have a lot of difficulties and choking points about raising how to resumption of the work. So the guidelines of the disease containment measures will to resume business which figure category-based guidance. And for the next one is about how the exist and actual bureau, because during the pandemic, a lot of entrepreneurs or the foreign employees, you just need to extend your work permit or your residence permit, but because the bureau was closed, so it cannot be done smoothly. So from the June 1st, the bureau will reopen again, so it has resumed its services. But remember that before entering the bureau, you need to wear your mask, you need to take your green code and travel code, and also the 72-hour nuclear test with negative results. Okay, and the next one is a small tips for all the entrepreneurs, because before the pandemic, it's just be the time for all the companies to do the annual reports, and a lot of companies didn't finish their annual reports. So from the June 1st, if you want to back to work, the company's annual report will be a start. Some entrepreneurs and companies have already filled in the annual report before, but please make sure that your data is certain. And because of the time limitation today, so I just offer you some ways to contact us and get more information about details. So if you have any personal questions, you can just work on the Any Helper Q&A system, and we have the volunteer program to answer you in free. And the next one is, if you want to get some daily news, we will put every daily news about the official Shanghai release news on the Any Shanghai platform, and also about any your visa policies posted on the Visa of China platform. So all the information, detailed information, you can get on these platforms. And also we have, according to the focus on the entrepreneurs and focus on the job field, we will have any job. So if you want to get more about economic support measures released in Shanghai, so you can focus on the any job platform. And also if you want to ask or you want to talk with me or talk with my colleague, even talk with David or the Professor Wang, welcome to join our Meet Entrepreneur WeChat group, so that we can have all your feedbacks and have all your have all your questions, so that we can talk with the governor and even give you more detailed information as soon as possible. Okay, I don't know if I speak very quick and you can get all my points.
Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you for that introduction of all the policies and all changes and all the stuff that we need to. I think it's super helpful. I have to say that especially this the help provided by Any Helper with the online forum and building the community is super important. We wouldn't have done it without them. So please, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to keep knowing about these changes in the policies, and you want to understand deeper, have a deeper understanding of the market, etc., please go ahead and scan the QR code for the entrepreneurs group, which we will address any questions in there, any questions you might have. So thank you so much, Lucy, for that. And let's now begin with our panel of discussion, which we all look forward to. So we're going to kick off with getting to know our guest situation under the current pandemic wave. So the first question is going to be, to what extent is the lockdown affecting your industry? And how has the lockdown changed your short and long-term business plans? So let's start with Erin. Erin, please. Oh, I cannot hear you.
Now can you hear me?
Now it's okay. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the lockdown was actually pretty crazy for us. We experienced something a little bit like this in 2019, but then again, we were in lockdown, but we could still move around and transportation. And obviously you all know it wasn't comparable as this one. So I'm not sure if everyone is familiar. If you aren't, you can Google it, but I won't say it on here as it's very depressing. But once the corgi accident happened, and once that kind of went viral, and once the spare leash team plus the volunteer team that we had set in place really put a highlight on, all these people are being taken to quarantine. They don't even know where they're going. And then there's not even a safe pet care solution. A lot of the times we would have a pet sitter right outside of the gate, ready for a contactless handover, and the guard would not allow us. So the dog or cat would have to stay in the apartment up to 10 to 20 days with no food and no water. You guys can just guess what happened to the pet, but a lot of these instances were not a happy ending. Sadly, through all of this sadness, now Shanghai has finally created, if people do need to be taken to quarantine, we are now able to work with the volunteer and the compound ahead of time to give them a safe pet care solution. Or if they don't want to work with us directly, then the animal is either looked after by a volunteer or taken to an animal shelter that Shanghai has created in some of the districts, not all. So this really affected us in a sad way, but the sad, thankfully, has created change. Just with a bunch of animals passing and everybody was hopeless, now pet care solutions are provided. With this zero COVID policy not going away anytime soon, that was something that had to be implemented, and we could not wait for another lockdown in 6 months or next year with no safe pet care solutions and just a lot of more dying pets on our hands. So that's pretty much how it affected us the most, is just using the media and using all of these stories that were just so heartbreaking, but just getting it out to the public and letting people know that this is happening, this is a reality, these families are being taken, and some animals we're not able to save. Long term, thankfully now we are working with like the government shelter, and we know how to kind of negotiate and talk to these compound guards and management and shine light on the importance of, no, you cannot just leave this huge bowl of dog food and this huge bowl of water for the dog. The dog is going to eat it within 2 days, and then he's going to go 14 days hungry. So kind of shining a light on the importance of these pets are family. They need a safe pet care option. Let's all work together. Let's all get that done. So long term, just rules and regulations are now set in place, and we're super, super happy and grateful to see it.
Wow. I actually have friends who asked me if I could take pets in my home, and I know that certain friends of mine, they had a really, really tough time because of that. I think I believe the government did want to address that as soon as possible, but I also believe that the government had to prioritize as they could. And we all know it was very chaotic. It was, it's been a complete chaos here. But yeah, if I compare to other countries, and I've lived the lockdown in my own country in Spain, and if I compare, then I would say that every country do what they can do with the resources they have and with the abilities they have, with the politicians they have, and you know what I'm talking about. So what I would say is that is lucky. And it's a great news that at least the government is taking certain measures about that, because other countries, they don't. They actually believe, this is not worth doing it. And for as far as I've heard, even some European countries, I have to say. So in China, the fact that they are taking measures and to do something about it is a great thing. And I'm pretty sure that you're gonna have a lot to do with that.
Yeah, just as long as we keep pushing them and they get it done. But yeah, baby steps. But we're just happy that now the pets are also safe along with the people.
That's great. That's great to hear. So Chase, would you care to give us a little bit of how was the extent of the lockdown affecting your industry, and how did it change your short and long-term plans?
Sure. So when it comes to this lockdown, I'd say it probably started in February. Not actually like April 1st when everything was closed, but in February there were these rolling sort of building and compound shutdowns, whether it was because there was contact tracing or a confirmed case, or I'm sure everybody saw the stories about various malls or like the Uniqlo that had everybody stuck inside for overnight as they were tested. We started to see an impact on business then. And then come March is when we were told that we could only be open for takeaway and delivery. So we had several weeks leading up to the April 1st lockdown where we were just trying to figure things out. We were trying to work on delivery packages, expanding it from just food to drinks as well. Now, as both of our venues are bars and are definitely a majority of revenue is from beverage, we did still have delivery services set up for food, but it's always been a supplementary part of business. It's never been something that we've really focused on. So there was definitely a lot more attention that we needed to direct towards that. But it was difficult. And of course, during the lockdown, so since April 1st, there's been absolutely nothing in terms of revenue, as both bars have just been completely shut for us. I'm sure Eduardo will speak next. And I know they do have an outlet or two of theirs that is open for like food delivery. We were not able to do that. We were never granted permission to do it. Both of our venues are quite small, so it just wouldn't be suitable. Where food is not our focus, and the venues are small and not set up to have employees living in the closed loop on site. So it's nothing that we even really pursued.
You didn't even consider it.
We considered it, but it didn't seem realistic that we would be granted the approval to open. And for us, weighing the benefits of it, even if we were granted the approval, it just seemed like it's not our focus as a business.
Of course.
And we would have been creating more problems, more trouble for ourselves, dealing with supply chain issues and employees. And when it came to alcohol, because customers are asking me like, oh, can we buy this? Can we buy that in form of drinks, whether it's beer, wine, liquor? But after about the first few days, the first 4 or 5 days of lockdown, like personally, I saw so many options coming available. So many, like our suppliers even who were selling their products direct to consumers, whether maybe it started off as group buys or very large orders originally, but then it was more manageable single orders, and the prices that they were charging. Sorry, I see Lucy's comment. No, we were not doing any deliveries April or May. So maybe the delivery services still had Rooster listed, but it would have shown up as closed, and we weren't doing any deliveries, any sales.
I see.
Wow. Going back to the alcohol delivery. So a lot of the suppliers were doing their own sales, and it was at prices that we wouldn't have been able to compete with if we were attempting to sell alcohol to customers for what we need to pay for it.
I see. Of course, you wouldn't be able to have cheaper prices than the manufacturer or the distributor, right? It's impossible. I understand that. What about you, Eduardo? How I know that you guys are doing delivery, right?
A little bit, but as Jay said, for us, then start on April 1st. It started earlier. With all this COVID started at the beginning, all the shopping centers started becoming empty. So our sales on the two Italian restaurants in the new souk and in the Colca in Norvant, our sales dropped over 60% because no people were going to the shopping centers. I think in February there was some offices or shopping centers that people get locked down, right? Something like that. Yeah. So once that happened, nobody wanted to go to the shopping center. So my places were no traffic. We started feeling like that compared to the year before, it's just not even half the sales. It's still Azul, Shanghai, and still Colca, in Henshan Road, they still were people. A more Colca Henshan Lu was the restaurant that closed last because our district allowed people eat there. So we were busy because at the time, the last before April 1st, I think we were the only few Western restaurants available in the market to go to eat. So we were really busy. But in general, we are struggle. I think we lost over 1.5 to 2 million RMB since April 1st to the present moment because we have 6 restaurants open. We have 120 employees. We had to do certain things that is unfortunately we had to let go some people that they was not in they were in probation period, so they were new staff in the company. So unfortunately, we have to do that to be able to manage to keep alive the company. Otherwise, because our payroll, if everything is open, our payroll is over 1.5 million RMB a month. So it's a lot of money. Yes. So if we don't have no sales, we had to do something about it. Unfortunately, yeah. The things that now that we're gonna to reopen again, and most probably it's gonna to do good. Most of the people that we let them go, they live in our own house and our own dormitories. So we let them live there for free. So they're still living there. So most probably once that we open, we will ask them if they would like to come back to work with us. I think it's no problem. Because nobody knew it's gonna to be that long, 2 months. So we just work it day by day. So yeah.
Everybody, I think it was so unpredictable, right? Most of people would think this is gonna be over in 1 month or so because everyone would think that we've learned from this, right? We've learned from the past, but it's.
We were lucky to open 2 of the restaurants. Now we had 3 restaurants open for delivery. The first one was Azul. The first one was Colca. That is open for more than a month and has been fantastic. We changed the menu a little bit more to comfort food for families. We have from lasagnas to meatball pastas, garlic breads, stews of chicken, fish curries, different things that you can eat at home with your family.
Ah,
We couldn't do the Peruvian food yet because unfortunately we cannot get fresh fish. We cannot get some of the ingredients. That was the biggest challenge. So we just have to cook what we were able to get from the suppliers. You know? And that when we started a month ago, there was only two suppliers available, and that's it. And we have to pay 5 times more expensive than what we usually pay. But anyway, we make it happen. And now we have Azul already open too for delivery. And one of the Azul Italianos is open already for delivery.
I saw
As
the
in,
pizzas.
yes, as in the next 2 days, the next Azul Italiano will be open for delivery.
Awesome.
I believe in a week or 10 days from now, they will allow us to open for dine-in, maybe
Hmm.
50% capacity. It's not gonna to happen from tomorrow. So somebody say Shanghai is open from tomorrow. It's not true. Shanghai will be open for tomorrow for you to go there, pick up your food and leave only. They will
Oh.
now they will not allow you to sit down in there. They will not allow you. They don't want it to become another Anfu Road. Like 2 days ago, there was a problem. They don't want it. The government doesn't want it. They're very scared of that, and they're scared to have new cases. If new cases come out, we're gonna have to shut down. So we have to be
Yes,
careful,
we
everybody.
have to be careful. Yes,
Yeah,
we do
we,
have
we, we,
to.
yeah. Changali will be allowed to open for you call for Elema or all these apps to order, or you can go there and order. You wait outside. They will give you the food, or they give you the drink, and then you will have to pretty much leave. You cannot eat in the restaurant. Most probably there will be some security or some police in there. Most probably, I don't know how it's
Well,
gonna happen. You
at
know.
least we get to order, which is, I mean, I appreciate it because there was a point where me and my family we used to we have like I have a Chinese wife, so we are used to foreign and Chinese food. So the foreign part we couldn't get it for 2 months. So once I got my hands on a pizza, I was almost crying. So I really appreciate that there are so
Yeah, yeah,
many
yeah, yeah.
restaurants reopening again and resending pizzas and stuff like that, cheese and olive oil, things like that. I really appreciate that. So that's a really great thing. I have a next question for you guys. This is more straightforward towards understanding how you are going to adapt for the coming few months of recovery. Yeah, so many experts foresee the structural changes in the restaurants and retailers' business models, and also some different habits in customers, how they are changing the customers and clients. They are changing their habits, right, with this situation from the lockdown that happened. For example, the group buying and things like that. So how can business owners prepare themselves for these kind of changes? What would you say? I mean, what is the 2 or 3 key points that you've done to prepare yourself for these kind of changes and to continue to move on? Can you, Chase, start, please?
Sure. So when it comes to both of our bars, I mentioned before that we pride ourselves on being a community bar, a neighborhood bar. And during the lockdown, we organized a few different, Zoom virtual brunches or bingos. Took part in donating prizes to trivias. We tried to stay relevant. We tried to stay like in people's consciousness. And we think that as soon as we are allowed to fully open, which I don't know when that's going to be, when we're allowed to have people who can dine or drink in. I don't even have a guess at this point. It seems like there's so much information going around or misinformation that who knows. But we're going to try to bring that back. We're going to try to help people sort of relive the experiences that they've missed out on over the last 2 months, whether it's holidays or birthday parties, celebrations, farewell parties. Like, we want to be there. We want to be there for our customers, and we want them to know that, hey, we are your neighborhood bar, and you can feel at home and comfortable here, and we're gonna strive to do that.
Okay, so in your case, the key point is to make sure that you stay on people's side, right, on your customers' side, and that they see that you're still there, and they see that you're still available to provide in the future the service. In your case, because you were locked down for a while, so you still do certain activities to make sure that they still they remember you, and they in the future you can regain the business again, right? That would be the key point.
Yeah, for sure. So many of our customers are foreigners or expats, and a lot of people are going to be leaving the summer. So
Yes.
we
Yes.
want to make sure that we are there for them to do their send off, to do their farewell, to have their
nice.
last. We want people to associate us with those good times and those good memories from before. When it comes to the next month or the next 2 months, of course, it's a shame that we've missed out on March, April, May. These are usually our 3 busiest months of the year. But before there's going to be, in my opinion, like a mass exodus of foreigners this summer, once we are allowed to open, and if we, in the scope of that opening, if we are allowed to actually be busy, and have a good amount of people inside, then I guess I'm a little bit optimistic for this summer. But once people leave a few months from now or next year, if this continues, then
I see.
A lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, it is a bit of uncertain now. And Eduardo, what about you? I mean, there is so much changes going on. So how can business owners prepare themselves for these kind of changes? What is the key points that you suggest entrepreneurs to do, and you've done, to be able to prepare for what's coming, for returning and so on?
Well, the first thing is we need to, for example, we need to be prepared for if something like this happen next time, because maybe it can happen again. So we're doing now deliveries in a way that we never did before, and we will
wow.
keep going doing this delivery service, family style or something like that, like for good. So if one day for some reason this situation happen again, we are ready for that to serve our customers even when we are closed down.
So don't put all the eggs in the same basket. That's what you
No,
would
we
say.
need to. I think the delivery thing is something that even that now we will open for business. I believe a lot, especially locals. I believe they will start eating at home more than before. I think they will start. Like for example, my wife, she doesn't want to go out much, and I heard many of her friends same situation. They worry about the kids. They worry about, because we have a small baby, so they worry about that, and they rather not complicate their life. So they're more careful. Foreigners, we
Of
think in
course.
different way. We go out. Today I went to West Bank, and it was lots of foreigners there, and a lot of young Chinese, but more mature Chinese that were not there. So we wanted to prepare that. At the same time, we're gonna to work more wisely in terms of our payroll, our amount of people that are working for us. Because uh, unfortunately, we need to work in our company that is growing with 7 restaurants, and it required a lot of cash flow and required a lot of staff. We need to be careful how we can manage to be able to don't, if this situation happen again, we try to minimize the loss more than what we're
Of
doing now.
course.
And that is basically, we are very happy that we're going to open again. We have a lot of loyal customers, support for many years. As Chase said, customers are very important. So we will most probably, whenever we can, do it also like a welcome party. So something like this for our customers to come back and to say thank you for support us in the last 3 months through delivery and through many things in there that they've been there for us. And it's very important for me because most of the people who order food for us are our loyal customers that they used to be in the restaurant all the time. So, yeah.
Oh wow, that's
Yes,
amazing. That's really
yes,
good to.
yes.
I mean, I definitely was one of those customers, and I hope to continue
Yes.
very soon. I really hope that I can give you a shot, go to Azul again because I love that place. It's amazing, and I've been going to Azul since I came to Shanghai. So, Erin, would you care to share some comments on that?
For us, it was kind of that it's kind of different because oddly enough, in these sad, dark times, we have never been more relevant. Everybody was coming to us to get information on what to do with pets and safe pet care. So we really didn't need to put too much out there. We just made sure to stay current with updating information on pet rules, regulations, the handover procedure that we kind of implemented during this whole time, and just letting people know that we were there for them. But this time for us, we had zero downtime. So just like in 2019, we went 24/7, and we will still be 24/7 until June 1st. So we have, one more night of taking naps and doing shifts. But yeah, we were just go, 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 go.
Okay, so actually, I have a question for you, Erin. It's interesting enough. I saw that pet stores were the first ones to open in Ulema, Meituan during the worst part of the lockdown. So that proves how much the pet industry cares about the how much the Chinese people here in Shanghai care about their pets and how much the pet industry matters in Shanghai. So did this have an impact, a positive impact? This is because of this that you managed to be able to continue the business and so on.
Yeah, I mean, as some people, we thought we were just going into a 5-day lockdown. We didn't expect 60 days. So we stocked up on what we thought was responsible, and same went for our pets. So a lot of people, it was around the second week where people were going, it kind of really hit them that this is going to be longer than expected. And they maybe had 1 or 2 scoops left of pet food, cat litter. A lot of people have senior dogs that nobody thought about. All the vets are closed. So if your senior dog gets sick, or even a puppy gets sick, or eats something, or just all of these things it caused panic. And these stores open and people allowed to get the basics, such as pet food, cat litter, and some medicine, or even just treats for their dogs was a huge, huge bonus. And also, if you're not a pet owner, you have to think treats come into play here because, Chase, as he said, he was locked in his apartment. Some people are allowed to go out into compounds, but a lot of people have had trained dogs that are, trained for years. Maybe some of these dogs are 6 or 7 years old, and then you're telling them, okay, now it's okay to go to the bathroom in the house. So just pet stores opening up and allowing us to get all these incentives to make the lockdown more comfortable for our pets was massive. We all I think we cried on that day, and we all celebrated.
Oh, really?
It was huge. And yeah, because you can only make your eggs. Like, I was sharing canned tuna with my cats, and I remember one day I had to split a can of tuna with my 2 cats and me. And then, you're making eggs for the dogs, anything you can get. But there was a couple days that overlapped there, especially with the delivery being all iffy, where you're thinking, okay, maybe by Friday I don't have dog food. So when it started, more and more started opening, it was a relief.
I was happy because before then I have quite a lot of calls from my friends telling what do I do with my pets. In fact, one of them was taken to a center, so he had to leave the cats, the two cats, with the neighbor, but the neighbor could be perfectly taken to the center as well. So what would happen to the cats, right? And
Yeah.
everyone was so stressed about that. But at the end, things resolved, and in fact, they did send somebody from the government actually to help with the cats, and my friend was so happy when she saw the stores opening on Ulema Meituan, and I was shocked because I checked Ulema and I thought, wow, I cannot buy olive oil, but I could buy shit tons of cat food if I
Yeah.
need.
It definitely
So
went in a weird way. It went from getting dog food, and then later I was allowed to order from Kolka. So my dogs definitely got priority, and then I got to.
Yeah, so you cannot say that they don't care about pets in here. Huh? I actually, I mean, I couldn't access cheese or olive oil or things like that. That for perhaps for a Chinese it don't matter, right? But
Yeah.
for a Mediterranean person like myself, where absolutely everything I cooked has olive oil, not having olive oil is like just kill me, you know. For example, so it's interesting how the pet food came first, and I think that's really good news. It
sign.
means that they yeah, exactly, they do care. They do care.
Yeah.
So I will that was the yeah. There is another question here that this time is for the three of you, and I know how hard it's been to manage people without the lockdown. I think it's really hard to manage people. I've been a general manager before. It's super hard, and obviously during this lockdown it must have been really crazy for your staff and their families, right? So my question is, what challenges have you encountered in managing others, and what measures can you take to not only keep your staff but also keep them happy, right? So why don't we start with you, Eduardo?
Well, in my case, you know, for 120 plus employees,
Wow.
what we did is we have maybe over 20 of the staff, 25 of our staff in our own dorms. So we keep them in there, and we pay for the dorm, so they have free housing. During the last 2 months, we check them often with our managers, and we see who were having problems of eating. If they don't have enough food, or so. Not everybody, but some of the group of the people that we had, we start sending noodles and food and milk and eggs and different things for them to have it. So through the company, we providing food to some of the staff who were needed. You know, because a lot of them in F&B, a lot of them are not from Shanghai. There are people who they live in a small room in Shanghai just to save money, and her wife, their kids, the family, they all live in the hometown, and they send them money there. So they get stuck here in a small little room without no kitchen or nothing. So we help them to provide it. You know, at the same time, when we open the restaurant, most of the some of the staff came into the restaurant to sleep in there and work in there, and it's better for them that because at least they have 3 meals a day, and they have a bed in there, and they have people to mingle in there to when they're working, and they have a full salary. You know, so that's what we're trying to do. Some of our staff, we lost them because they decide to go back to their hometown, especially the ladies who are mothers and they live here to make money, but their kids and they living with their grandparents in their
Of
hometown,
course.
so they decide to go back. You know, some
Of
of them
course.
they already lost. So exactly how many people we lost, we don't know now, because now that we're going back into the business, we are contact everybody to see when they will be able to come. Some people are able to come. Some people tell us, "Oh, we still locked down, and we don't know if tomorrow we can be free." Some people are left actually. So So in the next few days, we're going to know how many we lost it. But we believe we have a very at least 80% of our team together, and we're very supportive. They work for us for several years. Um, and they were really nice with us. They even when we started all this pandemic, they told us, "Boss, if you don't have no money, you don't have to pay me now. You pay me half only, or something like that."
Oh,
They came from them because they understand that we are in a trouble, and the biggest trouble is there's no income, and there's a very big company there to pay everybody. So the cash flow is the biggest problem. Yeah.
wow, that's amazing that your own employees they would actually sacrifice some of their own salary to be able to hold the business. This
they,
proves
they
that
can because they see it, they can see it. We being transparent all the time. Everybody knows how much money we do in sales every day. We are completely transparent all the time in everything, and we tell them when we always do meetings with my business partners, and then and we tell them what is our situation, and they understand that if they cannot be able to do this, well, there's no job, we close down. So we all are in the same situation. We're trying to make it work, because they want to come back. And when
well,
and when the business is going back, most probably we're gonna to give them back everything that they didn't get it. So yeah.
I hope that you get most of people back so you can stay
Yeah.
as yeah, I
But
really hope so.
I really doubt that tomorrow everybody in Shanghai will be free. I don't know.
Mm.
I'm not 100% optimistic that everybody gonna to be able to go to work or come back to home without no problem. I don't know. I will have to
It's
see.
it's very sudden, isn't it? It's like from nothing to, oh, tomorrow we're gonna open everything.
Yes.
If it's really like that, I'll be wow. I'll be shocked and happy at the same time. But yeah, we have to be cautious because we don't. I mean, we know that if we repeat the Anfulu story everywhere, then this is going to be another lockdown, and nobody wants that, right?
No,
So
no.
I think people are going to be careful this time. I think everyone is tired of the lockdown, so people are gonna take it easy. Even the government does will not take it as easy as they said they would, like to restart everything very very slowly. But I think people will be more cautious this time when they
Long
see what
as
could
as
happen.
long as there is no cases, everything will be good. But once that they have
Exactly.
cases, and they happen in cases in places like bars or F&B or something like that, then
Then
we're
that's
gonna.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what about you, Erin? Did you have any problems with your staff? How do you keep them? How do you keep them happy as well?
So I agree with Edward. We're very, very transparent. So actually our back end, I mean, as long as you've been on the team for past probation and you've been on the team for a year, every single transaction that we do every single day, we kind of have like a back end, and everybody can log in at any time to see how the company's doing or if they have any
Oh,
questions. We also created a way where if they do want to ask questions and they don't want to put their name on it, maybe it's, something about money or something they're unhappy with, and they can do that and I don't have to like know who it came from. So, but during this, as it wasn't just normal working hours, I really had to ask a lot from my team. And all my team from 2019, I let go. So this is a completely new team. And everybody's super passionate about animals, but what they weren't expecting was all the death that we had to deal with and informing these people's families. So you want to stay positive to the public. We're helping people, but that mental health side of things, when you have to, like tell a 10-year-old or like a family that their dog didn't make it because we couldn't get in, it's like something that, I don't even have the experience to tell these people, and then I can't ask from that as my team. So it was just me leading and telling them like, hey guys, we're going to have bad days. So anytime you guys do need to check out, just let me know. So there was no like okay, clock out and you're not going to get paid for this day. It's you guys are getting paid for everything and more. But when you need to take your time, just let me know and take it. And just we always have group chats. We're talking around the clock. Just making sure that we're there for each other because it wasn't just work for us. It never is, but it was a very depressing and dark time. And then to not only have to do it once, to tell somebody once in one family that your pet didn't make it is one thing. And they pass away from old age. But this was a daily reoccurrence for at least 2 weeks until we got this procedure set in place. So that
That's insane.
was really mentally challenging. So I think, just the team coming together and letting them know that you have their backs. And anytime they wanted to say, I need a couple of days break, I need a week off, or this is too much for me, then I totally gave them that space and I allowed it. And whenever they were ready, they could come back in.
And I found interesting about how the transparency and the back end where they can log in and they can check everything. I found it really interesting because this is something that I see now more and more in new projects, new businesses opening. They start having this kind of transparency where everybody knows what the company is making. Everybody knows. Also, people can make comments on even on managers' behaviors without knowing who said that, right? So this is, I think, is very important because it's what makes not just transparent. The company is not being transparent, but also is important because allows people privacy, allows them to relax and to say what they really think. So I think that's really amazing. I'll probably talk to you about that outside the forum. I'd like to know more about. Yes, I'd like to know more. And Chase, what about you? I mean, your staff. I know that they live in the bar, right? They have a dorm as well. The people who work for you.
No, we don't. So we have about 17 staff total. So
okay,
about 15% of Eduardo's. So our staff doesn't live in dormitories, but besides that, like everything that Eduardo described is exactly what we experienced as well.
Of course.
Our staff was incredibly understanding. We tried to talk to them, check in on them, make sure that they had food, make sure they didn't have COVID, and we're doing okay. And when it came time for payday and everything, everybody was very understanding. We're a team, and we've always tried to build that with all of our employees, and we're going to be relying on them as soon as we can reopen. So we wanted to make sure that during this difficult time that they knew that if they needed something, it was talk to me. And I encouraged the same from our managers. I encouraged our managers to reach out to other employees. If it's only me that's messaging someone, maybe they're not going to completely tell me how they feel or what they think. So
wow. So basically making sure that you are always connected to them and that they know that you are there to help. And have you had many of them drop in and leaving the company?
We haven't had we've had one employee leave, but our manager Gerald, but he was already scheduled to leave. He was flying back home to the Philippines. So it was actually quite sad that we couldn't do a proper send off for him. But we organized a Zoom call with employees and with customers and everybody to say goodbye. Some other friends of his organized pretty much like a baby shower and a gift for him because his wife is having a baby in the Philippines. So we wanted to share a farewell moment with him, and although we couldn't do it in person, He left on around, I think, April 21st. So we were certainly not able to do it in person, but we still communicated with the staff to get everybody to say goodbye, and also with his customers and his friends that he's made over his years and years in Shanghai.
Well, I'm pretty sure he will be very understanding with the situation. I mean, everybody understands and everybody knows that now is a difficult time to meet, right? Even I have friends that I mentioned about meeting this weekend, and like I said before, people are cautious. Like most people, I think, will take it easy to start meeting friends and so on. Although it's true that most foreigners, we are a little bit crazy and we just go like, let's go out and meet other friends. But those who are married or have a Chinese partner, they tend to have more to be more cautious about this. So
Yeah.
I completely understand. Yeah. Eduardo
Yes.
knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Especially when you got kids, because
Totally.
something like this happened to the kid is
Wow.
doesn't care about having COVID. Was care about what happened to the kid if we go to this concentration camp or something like that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there was a time where all us parents, we worried terribly that our kids could be taken away, because that's what this is the measure that they have in place. And there was there was a notice from the embassies helping with that. But yeah, it was we were super anxious and worried for 1 month. So I think everyone is really being super anxious and had a difficult time. But I believe that this is coming to an end. I believe so. I have the hope anyway. And I have one more question for you guys here before we enter the Q&A. We are getting to this part where many of us find ourselves in unpredictable waters. And so I'm very curious to ask, what changes are you anticipating in your industry over the next half of the year? Like how could you plan next steps? What do you think is going to happen, right? So for example, Eduardo, would you care to share some insights? What do you think is going to happen in the industry in the next, let's say, half year?
I think it's going to be, honestly, I will be optimistic, and I think it's going to be booming. I believe if the country is still not open up, that means you still have to do 3 weeks quarantine if you fly outside the country. I think the internal market will be good, and it will be happen more or less what happened 2 years ago. If we can control the COVID and the market is open, I think we will be busy and we will be able to recuperate all the money lost in the last 3 months. I believe. I'm very optimistic about that.
I completely agree with you.
I think Chinese people and foreigners who live here, we are all spoiled of good places, and we always go out. And I think in the last 3 months we couldn't do it. So now you have this,
that feeling.
Yeah, the feeling that you want to go out more. So you will be careful. I don't think it's gonna to be overnight. It will be gradually, but eventually, I believe by August, by July, it should be amazing. Most probably this July should be better than last year July, for example. I believe.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
And one thing that makes me think the same as you think is that you probably noticed that the entire Shanghai, everywhere, there is these cabins where you get your PCR done, right? So it doesn't
we will have to live with that. We will have to live with some protocols. But once that you do the protocol, the good thing of Chinese, the good thing here is people listen and people follow rules more or less. Something like in my country, Peru, we don't. So, but
in Spain, no.
Yeah, most probably either. So, but here they do. So as long as you control that, you have your 76 hours PCR test, so you're sure you are safe. I think the business should work out very well.
I completely agree. And when I
Yeah.
see these little cabins, it reminds me that really that could be the what's happening, right? That in reality, the government, what they want is the economy to start booming again, and this is why they put these measures into place, so they can avoid this situation to happen again. I think it's going to be like that. What about you, Erin? What do you think?
I hope you guys are right. Right now, like for instance, we haven't been able to do like our dog walking service or our cat check-in or house sitting, so other people can't go to other people's house or compounds, obviously. So we really hope with, once this testing becomes a normal part of our daily routine, we hope to adapt to this new routine. In 2019, I remember our dog walkers had to have certain passes for a couple of months to get in and out of people's compounds. Obviously, they're going to have to show testing now. So we're kind of just going to like pivot and change the sitter rules a little bit and just kind of rethink safety. I guess that's our most important thing on how we can move forward to make sure sitter's not in somebody's home and then gets taken to quarantine or dog walking and something happens. So we're definitely hoping for the best and we're ready to get all of our services back up and running. So I hope so.
Excellent. What about you, Chase? How are you preparing to get back? Do you anticipate any changes happening?
I mean, I'm probably a little bit pessimistic when it comes to a more long-term outlook of food and beverage in Shanghai, especially for my businesses as they are expat heavy. Short term, it may be a great summer with everybody here just wanting to celebrate and go wild and go crazy if it's allowed. And
I
sure,
think so, yes.
well, seeing some photos and videos from other cities like Guangzhou, Shenzhen, there's packed bars and restaurants. It's okay there. It seems to be back. So that short term, okay. We'll be able to survive with getting our COVID tests on an every other day basis or whatever it happens to be. I see that there's one directly across the street from my apartment. There's another one directly across the street from Perch. It's going to be, hopefully, knock on wood, it's going to be very efficient and easy to do, minimal lines. I think I'm more curious to see if group buys remains a thing, because like for me that came out of nowhere. That didn't exist as something that I would ever, I don't know, that I didn't even know about. I wouldn't even have personally used to sell or to buy. And over the last 2 months, it's completely consumed my apartment building and my compound, and pretty much everybody else that I know that lives in a building or compound that is able to do these group buys. So I'm curious to see if that's something that just disappears overnight as people can go to grocery stores and shop normally, or if group buys are going to be sticking around for a while.
I think they will stick around, but I actually saw a change that is extremely positive change out of this such negative event. And is that I lived that because I even did volunteering to help with the group buys and so on. And I realized that the group buys is not so much about buying things, but about getting together. I saw the people bound and getting together into groups and start to know your neighbor. Like in my compound, everybody started to get to know each other. Before I was like a complete unknown person. Now I know everyone in my building. We help each other to bring stuff from the gate. So every time I go to collect my quality, I just go like, okay, I'm gonna take all the building number, whatever, and just take the everything and go to each home and deliver to every home. And they said at the beginning they laughed. They were like, oh, they make jokes like, oh, I thought it was a Chinese quality guy or something like that. But it's a really good thing that we got, because now we start getting friends and getting to know our neighbors, and in this sense the society is changing, right? I think the buying aspect maybe is, I believe, is probably not going to stick around, because it's always easier to buy your stuff and get it delivered to your home. So as soon as they resume things to deliver to your home, probably that's going to the group buying is going to be reducing slowly. Most likely, most of the people who are going to do group buying will be generally people who didn't buy before through Jiaotong and Taobao, and people like old people usually, that they love to do that. They love to do group buying and to chat with each other and go and collect the things at the gate and so on. I think this will probably stick. And okay, so unfortunately, we are running out of time for the panel discussion, and now we go to the Q&A part. So we're going to allow the audience to make any questions that they might have. Please type them in the chat. We would love to have your questions. So I'm gonna check in the chat if there is any questions here. 1 second. Let's see. So it says, Sarah Palmer, the pet emergency WeChat groups have been amazingly helpful for the last 3 months. Thank you. So that's one comment there from Sarah Palmer. And from G Bin, it says, what is the outlook on business travel and tourism to Shanghai? So we have seen a big drought on tourism since November. I think this question was pretty much for Lucy, right? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question to any of our guests? Let's see if anyone has any questions. So anyone in the audience? I have someone trying to end. Okay. So if there is no questions from the audience, then I do actually have a couple of questions for you that I was hoping to actually say, and I didn't have time. So that's perfect. Eduardo, your story is close to science fiction. I read your story, and it's really close to science fiction. So you must have something that you would like to share to entrepreneurs. This question for the three of you, yeah. Do you have any suggestions for future entrepreneurs in Shanghai? So what would you say to people who are coming to open their businesses here? What would you share with them? Beginning with Eduardo, please.
You mean to start a new business this year? Is what you question?
Yes, this year or perhaps the coming year.
I don't think this is the best time to open a new business, but I think this is a surviving year. So yeah, you already have a business. What you have to do is try to survive your business. In any way you can, talking to your landlords, trying to minimize your costs or something like this. But to start a new business at this present moment is a little challenging, I believe. It could be, but yes and no. It could be interesting because if some people unfortunately gonna to close down because they run out of cash or something like this, it will be a very good also opportunity for a new business to buy it or existing business in a better prices. So if you want to gamble and see if the business will come to become amazing later on, it's not a bad time when it's a crisis, because you could get venues rental, or you can get a trespass a place in a lower price than in the normal environment. That
is what I thought you would say.
Yes, that could happen, but it's something that you could gamble, because you don't know if in the future it's gonna to work or not. We believe if you do a business here, your target customer has to be 100% local. If your business is more like the business that Chase has, that mostly foreigners, it's going to be more tough because a lot of foreigners are leaving. I think if you want to make some money and depress it with the crisis, I think locals is the answer, I believe, for especially for F&B business. You know.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, because I don't know exactly the numbers, how many foreigners left or are planning to leave, but I think it's very big actually. You know.
It is quite big, yes. Unfortunately for Shanghai, but though I have seen a small change in the relaxing the restrictions for coming to China. In fact, I have a couple of friends that are coming. They are coming to China now, and they seem to have relaxed restrictions. So some people are beginning to think that they want to open. China wants to open to foreigners for coming back. So that could be
That would
a
be
really good sign. Yeah, that would be very good. And I was thinking, why do I ask this question? Because in past forums, we do have entrepreneurs who have taken the opportunity of the lockdown, and they saw opportunities in the lockdown to open their businesses, like meaning things that because for every problem there is a demand, right? There is
That's
different
true.
demands emerging, right? So I was thinking, what do you think about it? Like,
Last pandemic happened to us the same situation. You know, we have our Azul restaurant in Wukan Road, but it was our last year of the lease, so we already 8 years there, and our rent was around 180,000 a month for the location. It was high, and then the first lockdown happens, so we decide to leave. And at the same time we decided to leave, we found Shanghai Space. Shanghai Space was in construction. They stopped the construction because of pandemic. And that location where we are now is supposed to be for a group. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Band, that group? Yeah,
uh-huh.
BOL is supposed to be a restaurant for them. But because this pandemic happened and they had also many restaurants, they decide to don't do it and they cancel it.
They didn't want it.
They cancel
Oh
it.
my God.
They cancel the contract at that
Oh
moment.
my God.
And the same guy who canceled is my agent, so he contacted me and say, "Dude, these guys canceled yesterday. Do you still want it?" And we decided with my partners, we went there to see it during the pandemic time. We gambled and we got it. So we got a space on the first floor, bigger than Azul, the all Azul, bigger patio, and half of the rent, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you see, I was
Because it
thinking
was a
exactly.
moment. But if it wasn't that moment, it was after the pandemic, it will not be the same price. You know, yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
So
Absolutely.
we
Uh,
gamble in there. But as I said before, you know, if you want to gamble, if you want to try it, it's a good opportunity. But if you want to be more safe, this is not the right time. You know.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. What do you think, Erin? Would you tell other entrepreneurs to try and open businesses here?
I would just make sure, obviously nobody predicted COVID, so we all have business plans and you have a timeline. So I've been here 10 years and COVID set us back at least kind of like a year and a half, 2 years, and we had to just like clear out our whole team that I spent 5 years with. So my tip would be if you're going to start something, make sure it works before bringing on a team, because during a pandemic, you do have a responsibility to take care of other people. So you don't want to mess around with that. Maybe it's okay if you don't pay yourself for the first couple months or whatever while you're testing it out. But I would definitely make sure that, there's growth and revenue there before you bring on people. And then, yeah, just long term. So a lot of people come to Shanghai, they think they can build something up between 1 to 2 years. Obviously, with these setbacks, it takes a long time to start from scratch and build up a business. So we've all been
I
here 10
agree.
years plus, and I
Yeah.
feel
True.
like we're just reaching the surface, and then we always feel like we can do so much more. So if you are going to start a business here, and you are 20, just know that maybe you start getting successful in your late 20s or 30s. If you come here and you're 40, just plan 10 years at a time, because nothing here is easy and success is never quick.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. What about you, Chase? Do you have any comments to say to future entrepreneurs?
Sure. I think there's always opportunity. So in the food and beverage industry that I'm in, it's always risky. It's always a gamble. It's always difficult. I'm sure more, even in pre-COVID perfect times, I'm sure more restaurants, fail than succeed. So now in this current climate, I would just say, be careful. I would look in maybe different scopes of business. Sort of touching back on the group buy comment from before, like it may stick around. It may be something that develops and becomes significant and a good way for suppliers to sell directly to consumers. There will definitely, that's one small example, but there will definitely be opportunities that come up for people in all industries right now. Anything that's obviously relying short term on international travel or large gatherings and crowds is going to be a bit risky.
I completely agree. I mean, it's definitely a very unpredictable market right now. Like I said, I still think that there are quite few opportunities emerging, especially, for example, with the group buys. I found quite a few friends of mine interested on this new market and taking the opportunity to supply, and which is very good. I have few friends who said they've never been busier as they are now, which is quite interesting, right? There is always, back in Spain, I have a friend as well who we were all locked down. Everybody was like unable to do anything for several months. Yet my friend had to open a new venue of his supermarket because the supermarkets they just couldn't they couldn't buy enough stuff to put back on the shelf. There was a continuous out selling, and they had to open a new venue, and that was the best business time they ever had. So I guess from every bad timing, right, there is always a good time for somebody, right? Okay, so this all this that we are doing now is all about building a community. So again, I'm going to suggest the audience to, if you want to get to for future webinars, and you want to come about and get to know us and get to know our guests, please join our group, our entrepreneurs group, and also do not forget to subscribe on our channel, because we do share the stories on video format in our video channels, stories of different entrepreneurs, and every week we share different stories, right? So this is if there is no questions from the it says, let me see, it's Dean in the group. It says large gatherings and crowds experiences there through in the events industry. Thank you, speakers, for sharing and looking to continue persistence. Thank you very much.
Can I reply to Dean?
Yes, sure.
So for sure, I'm sure it's been extremely difficult with there being absolutely no events, but when it comes to opportunity in your industry, I think once things do start to reopen, especially for corporations, larger companies that have had all of their employees working remotely for the last 2 months and lacking communication, I think there may be, if regulations permit gatherings, then I think there's going to be a large market when it comes to team building events. There's
I
going to
believe
be
so.
a ton of companies who are hopefully will still have some budget remaining, and that will be a necessity for them. They're going to need to get that team back together and get people, get people off their laptops at home and interacting again.
I believe that's pretty much what's going to happen. I mean, I can see around me people already very tired of being at home and wanting to experience the outside world. So I believe this summer, like you said, this summer is going to be a great summer. I really hope so, and I think that's what's going to happen. So if there are no more questions from the audience, I believe, is there any other questions from the audience? Let's see if there are any other questions to our guest. Okay, so if there are no more questions from the audience, this brings us to the end of the webinar. And I would like to thank the audience and especially our guest for sharing so much with us, because we really appreciate it. I believe everybody has benefit from your experience, from understanding your experience, and from your advices. I hope our audience has actually found the discussion useful, and I hope that you have all enjoyed as much as I did. So please don't forget to sign up for our webinars and for our accounts, for video accounts. And I hope that you all have an amazing week ahead, hopefully from tomorrow, yes.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
Much.
Thank you, everybody, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you
Stay
next
safe.
time. You too.